against an interesting Blazers team. Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, if you haven't already liked the video, subscribe to the channel. What a game. It looked like Utah was getting blown out there for a little bit, and then they came back behind Cody Williams and Elijah Harkless. That was fun. But let's talk about, before we talk about the Jazz, oh yeah, and Ace Bailey. Let's talk about the Blazers a little bit before we talk about the Jazz. This Blazers team plays hard, and defensively they're really interesting. Toumani Camara honestly impacted the game in a huge way. I couldn't help but laugh a few times how many times Jusuf Nurkic was taking that ball up and just banging bodies with the center, whoever it was on the floor at the time for the Blazers. It was kind of incredible, but that was all because of Toumani Camara and the pressure that the Blazers were putting. And Camara is just an all defensive level player. He is impressive. This Blazers team has some defensive toughness. I don't know if they have superstar upside and playoff upside. Maybe. I could not be more excited to see Scoot Henderson come back and see how he fits in with things, because that is going to be a lot of fun. Where he fits, that's going to be interesting, because Deni Avdija seems like he's pretty locked in there. It's hard not to have Toumani Camara on the floor. Shaedon Sharpe is a part of their future, and then Drew Holiday. Are you bringing Drew Holiday off the bench? I don't know. Klingon, I don't know what to think lately of him. He's so big and strong, but 5 points, 4 assists, 7 rebounds for him, and 3 blocks. I guess that's what he does. I don't know. He's really big. He feels like Nurkic to me a little bit, but with a little bit better rim protection, I guess. I don't know. But overall, this is a solid Blazers team that I think is going to win some games. And who knows? Maybe they get to that play-in and beyond. We'll see. All right, let's talk about the Utah Jazz. This game was, I don't know. We got to dissect this one a little bit, because I enjoyed every second of this thing. The things that I have been worried about came to fruition. The things that I was hoping to see, we saw. Test. There we go. Guys, I'm getting a new cord for my mic. So if it cuts out here and there, forgive me. But I don't know if this is like a internet issue or a cord issue, but I got a new cord that I think will be better. We'll just see. Sorry, it's cutting out. So I'm going to watch this mic line and just be careful. But it's like super sensitive right now. And I think it's just a cheap cord. So I got a better one. Let's hope that fixes the cutting out issue. If not, it may be an internet thing, and I'll have to look at some options with that. But anyways, all right. So Lauri Markkanen, I talked last show about him. Now I'm going to be sitting here staring at my mic sound line to make sure it's still going. So far, so good. Let me know, guys, if you're hearing it. I'm trying to fix it. Oh, and by the way, we got to fix the screen here. We got to put this down. By the way, I listen, and we'll go to the top. You don't want my face. You want to see the stats. All right. I get it. Put my dumb face up here. Stupid face. All right. So we're up there. Lauri Markkanen had another nice game. He did kind of dip in his three-point shooting a little bit, 2 for 7, but 10 for 19 overall. He's playing at a really high level. I think we're basically seeing what Lauri Markkanen is fully developed, a fully functioning defense system like in Star Wars. This is what Lauri Markkanen is. He's completely in his prime, ready to, and he's showing it. I mean, Utah is running every action for him like Finland did, and like they did that first year when Markkanen was on the team. Every action is for him. Everything is set up for him to succeed. And then everyone else is just kind of fitting into the picture. And when Markkanen plays well, this Jazz offense looks awesome, like it has this full season. In fact, before we go any further, I want to refresh on the advanced stats here. Let's just see where the Jazz are at. So Utah is not the number 1 offense anymore, but they're still holding strong, sitting there at number 5. Pretty impressive stuff. They've been on an absolute tear scoring wise. Defensive rating, I'm curious about this one. Utah was what were they, 12 before? Ooh, Utah has now dropped to 20, which is not surprising. They have not really defended particularly well, and I had a feeling this was going to come down to earth, and it definitely did today. Look at that, number 20. So Utah is number 5 offense, number 20 defense after 4 games, and are now 2-2. In fact, I'm going to pull up Tankathon, our old friend, and see where Utah sits. There we go, Utah at 2-2. So interesting to see. Not my favorite thing right now is that the New Orleans Pelicans are currently giving the number 2 pick to the Atlanta Hawks. Some general managers are so stupid, and how the Jazz couldn't have got in on that, I don't know. There's nothing they could have done, I guess, but that is so frustrating. And then Phoenix is currently giving their pick to Washington. Congrats to the Washington Wizards. Oh my gosh. 1-4 Phoenix. Isn't that so nice? Utah has that pick. Holy smokes. In 2031. They will never be good. Can the world just last to 2031 so we can get that Suns pick? Because those Suns picks are juicy things. Look at that. 1-4. That is the sweetness. But anyways, Lauri Markkanen's playing great. Part of the reason he's playing great is because the entire offense is geared around having him succeed. And he does a good job. So, and he is the best player, I would say, overall. And yeah, so they're doing the right thing. And Lauri Markkanen just puts up great numbers. 32 points, can't argue with that. 3 steals, 3 blocks, 2 assists, 5 rebounds. The defense is not always that good with him, and it's part of the reason why the defense dipped tonight. But he's so efficient offensively, you keep him on the floor. Not much else to say. I mean, we kind of know what Lauri Markkanen is, and he's really, really good. And right now, he's playing at an all-star level. If they were voting for all-stars, I would not be surprised to see Markkanen on the all-star team. So that's great to see. All-star level again, Lauri Markkanen. Kyle Filipowski, I felt like it was not Filipowski. I was going to talk Walker Kessler. Filipowski played just 15 minutes tonight. He had a few important minutes, but I have to say, the 2 starters and you guys know my feelings, Filipowski and Svi starting, I don't particularly get it. We talked about this last time. I'm going to just repeat it. I'll add a little more. I don't know if you can really build a winning team if you're focusing on building around Lauri Markkanen. Based off of the same things we talked about last time, Markkanen is not a guy that you give the ball to and he playmakes and is kind of the heliocentric offensive player. He's an off-ball player that does a lot of things extremely well, but he is not an on-ball player. He is an off-ball player. And because of the fact that he is not a high, he's not able to do the pull-up threes, he's not initiating, he's not running pick and rolls, then everyone else has to kind of make up for the fact that he doesn't do those things. So that's what makes Keyonte George so valuable, is because he has been playmaking and doing a really good job this season. Look at that, 15 free throws for Keyonte George. What an awesome night for him. In fact, arguably the best player tonight, except for the turnovers. Those were not good tonight. But it makes it tough because part of the reason why someone like Filipowski is playing is because Markkanen's skill set. If Markkanen was handling the ball and doing a little bit more with the ball in his hands and initiating offense and stuff, you wouldn't need to have Filipowski. I wouldn't be surprised if Taylor Hendricks was starting, but because of that skill set, Filipowski plays. Filipowski, not that good defensively, -9. You can see that there. He did have 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and 8 points. So he did a little bit of everything pretty good. And there were times where you saw him handling the ball, and it is nice to have, but there's not a lot of high impact play, and that's why he's playing just 15 minutes. And I would argue that if he's just going to play 15 minutes, then why are we starting him? Is it just to set up Markkanen? Maybe. It may literally be that, because it helps. And I tell you what, it does help too with Keontae George, because he was being hounded so much. There were multiple times where other players were bringing the ball up. And so it does help in that way. But I have not been in complete agreement with starting Kyle Filipowski. I just would prefer to develop Taylor Hendricks and so on, because I think Taylor Hendricks has a bigger ceiling and a better long-term future. But we'll see. Filipowski's a good player, though, and it's a good problem to have, I guess, where you have two guys that you could argue should start, and you have to pick one of them. And obviously, Will Hardy kind of made a pretty bold choice in starting Filipowski. It may not be working out very well, though. We'll see. They are 2-2, and we'll see. Walker Kessler. I was going to talk about Walker Kessler, and I felt like there were some real deficiencies tonight, and defensively, I just feel like he needs to be better. Utah went out on a big time run in the first quarter, and then it just kind of got chipped away. And one of the things, and I know he had 12 rebounds, there were times where it felt like you wish it could be more. And maybe it's not Kessler's fault here, because when you look at this rebounding, Markkanen with 5 rebounds, Filipowski with 4, that is not going to cut it. And there were so many. There was that one kind of possession the Blazers had in the first quarter where they had like 5 offensive rebounds in a row or something like that. Filipowski and Markkanen, this is a lot of size. Markkanen's what, 7 foot? Kessler's 7 foot plus. Filipowski's like 6'10". How are they both not rebounding the ball more? And maybe it was just the Blazers hitting all their shots. But you just look at this, 5 rebounds and 4 for Filipowski. That's just not good enough. When someone like Bryce Sensabaugh has 5 rebounds and he played 13 minutes off the bench and it's more than Filipowski, there's an issue there, especially when offensive rebounds. How many did the Portland Trail Blazers have? 14 offensive rebounds. Utah had 16, I guess, but it might have just been the Blazers hitting shots. I don't know. You just would like to see a little bit more. And so, but I just felt like Walker Kessler was solid tonight, but it didn't feel like it was, I don't know. This is just vibes, so you can ignore it if you want. It just didn't feel like the impact was there as much as you'd like. It's like one blocked shot, and I know the Blazers were just bombing threes tonight, but there were a lot of times where he just got out-rebounded, or just guys were kind of taking him off the dribble, going to the basket. And it's tough. I mean, if you're going to be a rim-protecting center, you've got to be able to, in this modern NBA, to be able to move your feet and go out to that three-point line and then recover back to the rim. And he got caught quite a few times. So we'll see. But 18 and 12, having said that, 18 and 12 is nice numbers. And he continues to shoot the three. I mean, look at this. 3 for 4. Walker Kessler, what is he shooting from 3 for the season? Let's just pull this up, because lights out. I mean, it's not. Test. Sorry, guys. My mic keeps cutting out. I'm really sorry. I'm trying. But anyways, it's like if I move, it cuts. Anyways, Walker Kessler, let's see here. This season, shooting from 3, he's shooting 75% from 3. That's actually crazy. In fact, in total games here, do we have totals? Let's bring up totals. 25-26, he's taken, just 4 threes, but he's made 3 of them. So very low sample size. But he's already taken more than his rookie season and shooting it well. So nice to see. Not a lot of other thoughts. I mean, this is just something I got to watch. But this Utah Jazz team has beaten one bad team. They blew out a lazy Clippers on opening night team, old. And then they lost to an average to bad team in the Kings, and they lost tonight to an average, I guess like a 500, slightly below average team in Portland. Walker Kessler is asking for like $30 million, give or take. I just don't know if you can give $30 million to Walker Kessler if he's not impacting the game in a bigger way than this. That is a lot of money. And that holds up the Jazz's books in a big way, you know, and maybe the Jazz will just keep going and maybe they can make some other moves that will help them get Darren Peterson. Like, Utah has to make some trades, because if they're just going to do this thing with lineups where they just, like, tonight was the first time we really saw the lineups really change. And if we're playing to win every game, which it looks like that's what they're doing, then the front office has to make some moves. Like, Svi Mikhailuk needs to be traded because he's becoming Will Hardy's Shelvin Mack. And I honestly, he was a -1 tonight. Can we calm down with the plus minus stuff? That was getting a little annoying, because it's not the hardest thing in the world for an NBA player to just kind of sit on the 3-point line, and when you get an opportunity, you just shoot the three. I don't know. I would like to see our young players develop, and I know that's going to make things not work as well for the offense, but it's more important that Ace Bailey gets minutes. Sorry, I don't care about Svi Mikhailuk at all. And honestly, I would like to see Taylor Hendricks get a shot to move up to that 4 spot. I felt like Taylor Hendricks played really well tonight. And look at that. That shows up right there in that +1. Hendricks is showing some things, and it's nice to see. Like, this starting lineup needs Ace Bailey and Taylor Hendricks in it, in my opinion. But, I mean, like I said before, Lauri Markkanen's skill set makes that a little difficult, right? And just to be very honest, like, it's tough when you're trying to build around a skill set and it's also not a top 10 player in the NBA. So that makes it tough. That's all I'm going to say. So not much else. No more thoughts on Svi Mikhailuk. Keyonte George, look at this. 15 free throws. He made every single one. He had 8 assists tonight, 29 points. This is just great stuff from Keyonte George. These 6 turnovers are a success for the Portland Trail Blazers, who were full court pressing him the entire game. And he held up okay. He also allowed the other teammates to just kind of bring the ball up. And despite the fact that he was getting the ball in half court after the other players are bringing it up, he still manages to get 8 assists. It's really impressive what Keyonte George is doing. And look at this. We talked about this before. Some of the efficiencies with Keyonte George's 3-point shot are just not taking certain threes. And look at that. Because last game, right, he was 2 for 9. This is a perfect example. Tonight, look at that. 2 for 5. Just not taking the bad ones, and all of a sudden, you're shooting 40% from 3, right? That's awesome. And then the 42% from the field is really, that's solid. You'll take it if he's shooting like this from 3. And then when you're going to the free throw line, so this means Keyonte George got 29 points on 14 field goal attempts. That is hyper efficiency. And then combine that with the 8 assists. That's 29 points plus the points produced off of this 8 assists. It's very much, I don't think it's really an argument that he might be the most important player on the Jazz. Lauri Markkanen might be the best player, I guess, but I think Keyonte George is the most important because he's handling the ball and he's the one setting up Lauri Markkanen, and he is the one running the offense that manufactures those off-ball cuts, those curl screens, those catch and shoot threes for Markkanen that he's getting. And the reason that's happening is Keyonte George is running the offense really well. He had some pretty brutal turnovers in this one, but that's going to happen. He's still learning year 3. I've always loved Keyonte George. You could just see it from the moment he stepped into Summer League rookie year that there was something special here. And it's getting better. And what I love about his game is it's evolving into more efficiency, but more of a playmaking role. And he's doing well, right? I think he's finding joy in passing the basketball and just finding joy in an assist as much as he is in getting a bucket. And, year 1, year 2, Keyonte George, it's a mix of just trying to get shots because you've got other selfish veterans trying to earn a contract, which is fine. That's what every player does. But then it was also just a little bit of that thing where there wasn't a shot that Keyonte George didn't like. And he's getting better. And tonight's a perfect example that 2 for 5 from 3 is great. If he's got an open 3, take it. By the way, my favorite play of the game was that Ace Bailey between the legs pass to Keontae. That was so great. Like, that was so great. This one right here was my favorite play of the game. This was after the block. Watch Ace Bailey. By the way, we're going to talk about Ace. Just boom. The fact that Key made that after that awesome play, that's just one of the most fun blocks turned into a play on the other side. It was awesome. But I just wanted to make sure it's very clear. Like, Keontae George has been extremely important to what the Jazz are doing, and he's playing at a very, I don't know if high level, but very good level. Semi-high, pretty high. I don't know how you say that. Okay, guys. It looks like there's a minute restriction on Ace Bailey. They need to take this off because he's ready to go. I know he missed his 2 threes, but man, does he look good. He looked good tonight. And if you didn't watch the game, it's worth watching at least the Ace Bailey minutes. But this jump shot, and he was 3 for 3 to start the game. He missed his 2 threes. That's why he's 3 for 5. But this jump shot is so pure. It's so pure. And look at this pull up. This is him getting the ball and creating his shot. This is why someone like Ace Bailey has so much value, is because that's just going to get better. And then this step back jump shot. I mean, just look at how pure this jump shot is. It is beautiful. Look at this. Just rise straight up, perfect form, boom. It barely even touches the net. It's so good. It's so good. It's so nice. And the fact that he's handling the ball. Also, what I loved is Ace is just becoming so, not becoming, he just has been. Everything we heard about him being a selfish player has been completely false in terms of his time with the Jazz. He has been a willing passer. I mean, he had 2 assists tonight, but he very well could have had 4 or 5 if players would have made their shots. Why isn't this available? Dumb thing. Here, let's pull this up. Here we go. Look at this. This was my favorite because this is just purely created by Ace. He gets the ball baseline here. He's just kind of doing work under the basket. Drives. Look at that. Sets up Kessler for an easy lay-in. That was so great. That was one of my favorite plays of the game. And then this one we already watched, but him just like unselfishly just boom. And then also clears out Drew Holiday so the 3 is open. I mean, he has it. I don't, it's going to be a joy to watch Ace Bailey and how he evolves. Like, there's like, people compare like Kevin Durant, but he kind of reminds me a little bit of like Glenn Rice a little bit. Blast from the past. Allen Houston a little bit in there with just this pure jump shot. But he's also kind of moving the ball and he's passing it. So there's a little bit of Jason Tatum in there. A little hint of that where he's able to kind of play make a little bit from the forward spot. Not maybe a point forward, but he makes the right pass. He is an unselfish player. He moves the ball, he listens, and he's trying to defend too. So I could not be more happy with what he's doing. By the way, this minus 17 is completely deceptive because he came on when they had a lead, and look at this. I don't know. And then he didn't get to be on the floor when Elijah Harkless and Cody. I don't know. Sometimes plus minus is a liar. And he was on the floor when certain players, like the person who probably struggled the most tonight, I felt like was Walter Clayton. He really struggled tonight. And despite that, Ace looked really nice. So anyways, there's the Ace Bailey segment brought to you by apples. I had 2 apples tonight. Okay, Taylor Hendricks. I feel like he's looking better. The jump shot's not there yet. And I don't know if it's a conditioning thing. It's not there yet. It's something to watch because it hasn't been falling quite as regularly. I think Taylor Hendricks has to play his way into shape. He just looks a tiny bit slower to me, and I don't know if that's because of the muscle he's put on. So he's just got a bigger body. But he still is making plays. And one of the things that I was really excited about, this blocked shot was just, this is what I've been waiting to see. I think Taylor Hendricks just needs time. He might be on a minute restriction as well. But he just has so much potential, and if he can just get back into that. Look at it. Actually, he's moving pretty well there. This is actually the most exciting play of the game in some ways for me, in terms of, I guess, Taylor Hendricks. But he's just moving better. Look how, actually, he looks like he moves pretty quick here. This actually is really nice. He stays with Jrue Holiday and then blocks the shot. That is just high-level stuff. And he showed another, I really loved this one. He drove into the paint. Let's see. Was it this one? He did a driving float jump shot. Was it? I think it was this. Yeah. Look at this. He just kind of curls around, dribbles, basically creates his own shot, and then drops a floater. Really nice. I mean, if he's doing stuff like that, it makes him pretty interesting. This one, let's watch this. He just kind of drove, and yeah. Those were the only 2 buckets, but they're solid. And if he's doing that and then also knocking down threes, one thing that Taylor Hendricks is quietly doing as well is he's getting fouled. He's drawing fouls and getting the free throw line. So I'm happy with what he's doing. 4 rebounds in 14 minutes. You extrapolate that to 32 or 36 minutes times 3. That's 12 rebounds. So he's rebounding at a high level. The defense is there. I think it's just conditioning. You look right here. Ace Bailey 15, Taylor 14. That smells like minute restriction to me for both of them. So just something to watch. How's the sound going? I'm trying my best. It looks like it's solid. It looks like it. I just got to like not move, basically. So I'm trying. Sensabaug's had a bad couple games, and it's a little bit of defense, and he just doesn't quite play within the offense. There's times where he's just forcing it, and he's such a good shooter that he shouldn't be forcing it, but he took 3 shots. They were all threes. It's not really within the offense. He did have 5 rebounds and an assist. There's just something when you're watching and it just seems a little disjointed. It usually means that he's probably just not playing within the offense, like Will Hardy would like him to do. And I just bumped it. I'm scared. But anyways, Sensabaugh, I don't know. I know we love the 3-point percentage, and the box scores are really exciting sometimes, but man, sometimes the on the court, like when you actually watch the game, it's a little disjointed. It just doesn't quite fit. It doesn't quite work. And you'd just like to see him kind of play within the offense a little more. If he was a more willing passer, if he was more drive and kick and things like that, then I think we'd see a lot more Sensabaugh. But it's a lot of just like, I'm taking this shot, and it's either going to be a 3 or I'm going to drive and take it, and that's that. And it's a little kind of Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson-y a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see. That doesn't mean he can't get better. He does shoot the lights out when he's playing within the offense. It's just sometimes it's a little out there. Yusuf Nurkic, felt like he didn't play particularly well. That said, he did 13 points and 4 assists and 4 rebounds. He's solid for a backup big. There's not a lot much else. He's kind of in the very twilight of his career, but the fact that Utah's getting something out of him and that he's got an expiring contract, pretty nice for the Jazz. I felt like Walter Clayton really struggled tonight, guys. It was a little rough. 1 for 4, 0 for 2. This is against some of the best wing and perimeter defenders out there in Jrue Holiday and Toumani Camara. If you don't know the name, learn the name. He is like first team all defense level. He is crazy good and just a disruptor and quick and long and strong and ferocious. And, this might be a little bit of a welcome to the NBA moment for Walter Clayton because he struggled. 1 for 4, 0 for 2. It doesn't mean he's going to be bad. It just means you got your first taste of a legit top-tier defender. And, he'll figure it out. It's good experience. This is a great learning experience. But that said, it wasn't particularly good. He struggled. I'm surprised it only has 1 turnover accounted here because it felt like 3 or 4. He'll get better though. But yeah, Toumani Camara, Jrue Holiday, that's about as good a perimeter defense duo as you're going to come across. And this is why you're seeing that. Probably my favorite thing about this game was the fact that Elijah Harkless and Cody Williams turned the game around. Utah was down by like 17 or something like that, 15 to 20, somewhere in that range. And they came in, and the Jazz immediately went on a run. They started getting stops. Cody Williams looked a little tentative to start, a little passive. He probably just doesn't want to make a mistake. But Elijah Harkless came in like Cannonball from the X-Men and just exploded onto the scene and disrupted stuff and made plays, and it turned everything around. He was 0 for 1. And he was a plus 17. He just absolutely made winning impact plays. Sometimes effort and unbridled confidence is so valuable, and he brings it, and he's just a bulldog out there. It was awesome. So this was the first time, for me at least, that I was like, you know what? I want me some Elijah Harkless down the road, because you know what? Even if he's like the 14th guy on the team, just to have him there, I mean, honestly, Will Hardy playing Elijah Harkless was just like throwing a firecracker in a metal bucket. And it just, sometimes it doesn't do much, and then sometimes it just makes things happen. And it changed the game. So shout out to Elijah Harkless, brought the absolute defensive intensity you want and need. And then Cody Williams too. I know people are not high on Cody Williams. Last time we talked about Cody Williams, like a week or two ago, we had a whole thing about the confidence stuff, but you know what? There was like that first play where he was a little passive. The second play, he took the ball. In fact, I want to see it. It was this assist right here. He had 2 assists. It was Oh, what? Yeah, right here. He got credited with 2 assists. And it was a big deal. 18 points. Let's see. Oh, not this one. It's this one. This 3-point shot he set up. Look, the play before this, so I want to rewind this. The play before, he got the ball out here and just kind of passed it off passively passed it and didn't take the reins. This time you could tell, you can literally see him, watch his head. You can just kind of see him saying, no, I've got to make a play here. Because look, Clayton's calling for the ball, and Cody Williams just waves him off and said, nope, I'm going to do this. And watch this play. See how Clayton's wanting it? He backs up, drives, kicks, Kessler 3. That was nice. And it was a big-time play. And it was really one of the plays that really set them up to come back. And he was a plus 15. A lot of people probably calling Cody Williams a bust. He might be still just a bust. But this was a good sign. And one thing that Cody Williams does and Elijah Harkless does that not a lot of guys on this do is he can play pretty high-level defense. He's got the length and size. He made some plays. He held tough against Avdia, who was like coming at him hard. I think Cody Williams earned some play time tonight, and I'm happy to see it because that defense was awesome. And Utah needs more of that. They need length. I tell you what, there was a few moments too where, you have like a combo of like Harkless and Williams and Bailey and Hendricks. All of a sudden, you've got a pretty athletic, potentially good defensive team. I don't know. There were a few times, and that's why these numbers are annoying, because I think Bailey was on the floor when certain things were going on that weren't his fault. But Taylor Hendricks and Ace Bailey together, there were a few moments where it looked pretty awesome, where it was like, wow, I can see where this could go. I'm very high on the Taylor Hendricks as playing as the center at times. I would love to see more of that. If you're like, at times, if you want to try something instead of Nurkic, just have Taylor Hendricks run center, Markkanen at the 4 and Bailey at the 3. Why not? I think that would be like lights out offensively, and all 3 of them can handle and drive too. Sometimes 5 out is not even necessarily just like having 5 3-point shooters. If you have 5 guys that not only can shoot the 3, but can drive and get to the basket, take advantage of a mismatch, then that's even better. Like Taylor Hendricks is showing us that he can drive to the basket and do a little bit. So I want to see that. And if he's moving a little bit slower because he's getting stronger, then so be it. Put him at the 5. Why not? Why not? I would like to see it. All right. That's kind of it, guys. Not a lot else to really discuss. I keep forgetting with the sound. I've got to be careful to make sure that I get the sound right here. I'm tired. Shout out to everyone watching live tonight. You guys are incredible. All of you are amazing. But you know who else is incredible? The members of the channel. And especially the All-Stars. I could not be more appreciative to everything you guys do to support the channel, being a part of it. I did not get a Q&A last weekend, but we will get one this weekend for sure. Let's turn this down just a little bit so we can talk. All right. Let's give a shout out to our All-Stars tonight. If you'd like to be an All-Star, hit join down below and join the All-Star tier. You will get your own producer credit. You get your own Hoops Nerd nickname. Let's go. Let's give a shout out to Let Him Cook, Sturdy Potts, Ezekiel Raisibe, the man from down under, Tyson Price, the Price is Right, See Ya, Lex Slater, Jordan the Goat Besterol, Ryan Edward Perry, the legend, Christian House Money to Haas, Robert Hall of Fame, I Believe in Steve Jazz Exile, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, Flipping the Script, the OG, and Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. Flipping the Script, your nickname's kind of evolved. It's the OG, and Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm 100% going to try to get a video out tomorrow and also get some writing done at SLC Dunk. By the way, the SLC Dunk website is going great. Make sure you're checking that out every day.